The Mucker by Edgar Rice Burroughs. Billy Byrne. Billy Byrne was a product of the streets and alleys of Chicago's Great West Side. From Halsted to Robey, and from Grand Avenue to Lake Street, there was scarce a bartender whom Billy knew not by his first name, and in proportion to their number, which was considerably less, he knew the patrolmen and plainclothesmen equally as well, but not so pleasantly. His kindergarten education had commenced in an alley back of a feed store. Here a gang of older boys and men were wont to congregate at such times as they had naught else to occupy their time, and as the Bridewell was the only place in which they ever held a job for more than a day or two, they had considerable time to devote to congregating. They were pickpockets and second-story men, made and in the making, and all were muckers, ready to insult the first woman who passed, or pick a quarrel with any stranger who did not appear too burly. By night they plied their real vocations. By day they sat in the alley behind the feed store and drank beer from a battered tin pail. The question of labor involved in transporting the pail, empty, to the saloon across the street, and returning it, full, to the alley back of the feed store was solved by the presence of admiring and envious little boys in the neighborhood who hung, wide-eyed and thrilled, about these heroes of their childish lives. Billy Byrne, at 6, was rushing the can for this noble band, and incidentally picking up his knowledge of life and the rudiments of his education. He gloried in the fact that he was personally acquainted with Eddie Welch, and that with his own ears he had heard Eddie tell the gang how he had stuck up a guy on West Lake Street, within 50 yards of the 28th Precinct police station. The kindergarten period lasted until Billy was 10. Then he commenced swiping brass faucets from vacant buildings and selling them to a fence who ran a junk shop on Lincoln Street near Kinsey. From this man he obtained the hint that graduated him to a higher grade, so that at 12 he was robbing freight cars in a yard along Kinsey Street, and it was about this same time that he commenced to find pleasure in the feel of his fist against the jaw of a fellow man. He had had his boyish scraps with the fellows off and on ever since he could remember, but his first real fight came when he was 12. He had had an altercation with an erstwhile pal over the division of returns from some freight car booty. The gang was all present, and as words quickly gave place to blows, as they have a habit of doing in certain sections of the West Side, the men and boys formed a rough ring about the contestants. The battle was a long one. The two were rolling about in the dust of the alley quite as often as they were upon their feet exchanging blows. There was nothing fair, nor decent, nor scientific about their methods. They gouged and bit and tore. They used knees and elbows and feet, and but for the timely presence.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?